Welcome back, everyone, to more from the Stabilized. I'm here today with Blake. How are we doing, Blake?
I'm doing well, thanks, Mitch.
That is good, and we're here for more gameplay from the Cosmic Eclipse format. On the left-hand side, we have Arceus Dialga Palkia. On the right, we have Charizard Braixen. Now, we're post-commentating this. This isn't us playing. This is Aaron Vanderkolk and James Goring, who have happily offered their services to do a bit of playtesting for us. We're just going to post-record the commentary, because there's only so many games, Blake, that you and I can play together.
Oh yeah, before people get sick of different matter of play styles and deck building, it's going to get old pretty quickly for our people watching at home.
Yeah, so we've got a few matchups like this from a local Winterbox tournament where we played some games with proxies in order to try and win ourselves some new cards from Cosmic Eclipse. If you're interested in seeing more content than like this, then consider subscribing or even liking or commenting or whatever it is. But hey, let's get started. Aaron looks like he's going first, and he's opened up with Arceus Dialga Palkia and an attachment as well, which is pretty strong.
Yeah, he's also got down that Chaotic Swell to block James's Stadium, which is pretty good against fire decks. Aaron's running an interesting variant. He's running the Silvally like we did on the channel. But interestingly enough, he's also running 4 copies of Judge. He's playing a super disruptive build because once the Silvally's down, Judge doesn't really affect you too much. So Aaron goes for that real early Chaotic Swell into Judge and just really tries to rely on the fact that the tag core engine is super strong to get you into red and blue onto the Silvally, and then you can just draw out the rest of your game while your opponent's just sort of struggling without their key stadium and a low card count.
Yeah, exactly, and you can see Aaron here going for that tag call, being able to search for 2 cards from his deck that have tag team written on them. He's got mega low punny that he's considering, but no, it looks like he might just whiff that one in order to gain a few more cards off of the Cynthia. I think that's fair. Sorry, not the Cynthia, the Lily, which is fair and reasonable. Looking for some type nulls here.
Yeah, I think he was going for that low punny, and then he did a quick count and realized that was the 4th GX, and that James's own low punny could kill his ADP if he was to get a welder onto it this turn. So I think he just decided, you know what, maybe not. Let's not risk having a 3 prize go down in the first turn of the game. That wouldn't be very nice.
It's probably a fair and reasonable thing to be concerned about. And we see James's first turn here. James obviously playing Charizard Braixen, the kind of control-y version that we've seen from multiple different channels now. You can see James has that Pheromosa in the active, a really, really good tech card that we didn't include in our list on the channel, but definitely will see play. Synergizes really, really well with Mallow and Lana, which you can see James is kind of looking out at the top of his deck there. There's a few choices to be made on the first turn of a Charizard Braixen game, so taking a long time to make that decision, but that's fair enough. There's lots of things that you've got to get done. You can actually see there's a Miss Magius in James's hand there as well. It's another card that they've kind of teched into this particular deck, and I think that one's specifically for birds, just in case you go up against that controlling variant.
Yeah. So against birds, after you take the first knockout, that once they start doing surge loops, that's when the trouble really begins against that deck. And if you give them a prize, you can delay it a bit longer and sort of improve your board state before things get too far gone on their side of the field. So yeah, it's just specifically for the bird matchup. So which is one of this deck's worst matchups according to James and Jordan, who were playtesting this the night before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we see the tag call grabbing Charizard Braixen and Mallow and Lana, and then a Pokemon Communication gets rid of the Miss Magius to grab the Miss Drevis. So that is down in play, and now we've got that Charizard Braixen there as well. It's just a matter of the next turn, the next action for James. There's not really much that he can do, so it's just a pass.
Yeah, and it's really painful. Against Chaotic Swell, like the combination of Keldeo and Chaotic Swell is just painful, because when your only answer is Power Plant, you want to see everything else but Power Plant as your response to Chaotic Swell, because you need that to be the stadium in play and not the one that bumps it. So really struggling there for James, but now we see the Judge come out from Aaron. He's got the second energy down. He's going to be able to get off the Altered Creation GX and buff up his damage and his ability to take prize cards on James. And he even gets the type null off the judge, which
doesn't
is
just
insane.
get one. I think he got 2 there. Did he?
Yeah, he did. Just elects to bench the 1. I think he wants to hold on to it for Pokemon potentially.
Fair enough.
So he can get into, say, a Silvally, or even if it's just a free discard for red and blue.
Fair enough. That's a crazy thing when Lily to 8, don't find the type null, judge to 4, and there's 2 of them. James here gets himself into another tag call, so that's another Pokemon and potentially a supporter. So I'm going to have a bit of a look here to see what the best options are, and grabbing out Cynthia Caitlin, because that's the only tag team supporter that has a draw effect that he can utilize here. So that might have to be the choice for James. And you can see
just needs to see more cards.
There's a Welder and a Giant Hearth, so this turn would have been really strong if not for Chaotic Swell.
Yeah, I think if James had potentially elected to just give in to the fact that one of his power plants was going to be wasted, he would have had a really strong turn here, because I don't think Aaron got a backup Swell to replace the one that he would have lost, and yeah, James would have been free to put down his Hearth and get a Welder off this turn. Now, he didn't get the attachment on the first turn, so it didn't mean he was attacking, but it's still important for James that he gets those Welders off wherever possible.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I think he's still going to bump Chaotic Swell with this Hearth, because they just need to go. They really need to go.
Exactly, and it looks like James is kind of getting himself into a position where he might be able to use Mismagius. And look at that handful of supporters. Not necessarily the best hand to be holding, and there's the knockout for Mismagius, and gets himself 2 more cards. One of them was another supporter, so this is not looking good for James at all, and it's just another pass.
Yeah, unfortunately for James, he was just desperately searching for that energy so that he can get manual attachment down and then be in the range to just start Brilliant Flaring the next turn. But now that's completely out of the realm of possibility for James here, and he's going to go 3 prizes down because, of course, this Pheromos is now worth extra due to Ultra Creation checks.
Yeah, it certainly is. So Aaron is going to be able to get some energy into play. He's going to get his type null into a Silvally, which I'm sure he's going to search out in a second. I think he just might have forgotten to do that.
The key part there is that it actually evolves, because I don't think you can just grab the energy without having to evolve the Pokemon.
I don't think you can, so I'm glad that he found it. And now that ADP that's in the active is super, super threatening, going to take 2 prizes, and Aaron has a backup attacker. So there's that attack, 2 prizes, and 3 energy into play going onto a Keldeo, which, because of the GX attack, can take a knockout on Charizard Braixen for game.
And I was going to say, at this point, the game is just on board for Aaron, because James hasn't got very much going on here. There's that energy, 1 card too late for James. But even with Lieutenant Surge, I don't see that there's too many combos. Like, he can pull off a double welder, and he can attack that way. But he also needs to be able to knock out this Keldeo, so he needs to find Power Plant and a Great Catcher as well to go with it. But he elects to go for the greens. It was very unlikely that James did find all of those parts that I mentioned, because he would have to find Double Fire, Great Catcher, or Double Fire at least off of the first welder, so that the second one actually hit all the energy, and then he still needed to hit yet another fire.
And I'm just looking here as well. I don't actually think that there's any search options for James in that deck. I think that things like Fiery Flint and Giant Hearth are both missing here. So maybe that one Giant Hearth that was discarded earlier was the only one left in James's deck, because I don't think that there's any way for him to search out energy.
Oh no, that is shocking. I know that feeling all too well now, because I've been testing Green's Pipstoice in my own time after this event, and that was a problem I was running into myself, was just not enough energy search cards, especially for non-fire decks.
Yeah,
so,
and James
he's just going to chuck
it
in and go to the next one, seeing that the Flint and the second half are indeed prized.
Yeah, so unfortunate, but hey, at least James will get an opportunity to redeem himself here. It's interesting as well, because both of these decks don't really mind going second. Like, it's weird because ultimately, like, obviously ADP is going to struggle to use Altered Creation if it's going second on its first turn with the way that Aaron has built his deck, but James could potentially use Volcanion's Flare Starter and get himself a Charizard Braixen powered up super early. We'll very quickly, before you go on, Blake, I will apologise for the stuttery video. That's not the greatest thing, but it's okay. It'll do the job. We can still see what's going on.
It gets a bit better in our future videos. I will say that,
there's one where it's like there's an earthquake,
there's one.
The
next one, there's an earthquake, but then after that, it's all smooth sailing after that. So bear with us for these first 2 rounds, and then we'll smooth sailing. But both decks that don't really mind what the result of the coin toss is. Obviously, Aaron has built it so that he's not turboing out that Altered Creation attack. He is just taking it slow and steady, very deliberate approach, but going for that disruption as well. And we do see the Judge in his hands. I think James is actually elected to go second here, but opens the Mega Lopunny. So Aaron's pretty excited. You can see how quickly he's playing his hand out because, he knows the line. He's just going to attach, get himself a Keldeo, and I think he's just going to get chucked down a Judge.
Yep, there's a Judge.
And he's just gonna try. He's just gonna try and fund that Chaotic Swell on a type no, and I think he's pretty content with himself at this point.
Yeah, realistically, a Water Energy off of this Judge would be great. Get a Chaos Swell and maybe another Energy off of the next few cards, and Aaron will be feeling pretty strong here. And it's funny because Mega Lopunny isn't realistically that bad of a start for James, but in this matchup, it's really, really poor.
Yeah, it's just awkward because you really want that early Volcanion if you're going seconds just to expedite the Charizard Braixen attack. Because I think speed is really the issue here. If you give Arceus Dialga Palkia too much time, it just sort of runs away with the game. So being optimal is the main way to beat this deck, especially if it's not the Turbo variant.
Yeah, exactly. If it's sitting there and healing and doing all that kind of stuff, then you really need to make your attacks count, because otherwise your opponent is going to come back to bite you. Now, Aaron benching the Mega Lopunny of his own actually allows James to potentially get off an attack here for 240 damage, which is very impressive, but no, James instead electing to play Green's Exploration. Might allow him to get himself set up. Realistically, he knows he's got another turn because Aaron is likely to use his GX attack next turn. He's got a bit of time to try and set himself up, and you never know, maybe Aaron plays down another GX and allows him to take a knockout.
Yeah, I think Aaron here is just acknowledging the fact that James is looking to set himself up rather than go aggro, because even if he takes 3 prizes on the Mega Lopunny, the follow-up after that isn't very strong. You nerf your own damage as you attack with Mega Lopunny, and you're not searching yourself for more cards. You take the 3 prize cards, but James really just needs to establish his engine and get his Charizard Braixens going. And Aaron knows that because James has led the Mega Lopunny, he's going to at least have to bench 1 or 2 more GXs, which means his own Mega Lopunny will be stronger. So I think that's why he's elected to go for it. And of course, it can never be understated that's how important thinning is. So even just a little bit can help out, especially when you're in a situation where Aaron is, where he needs to hit that specific water energy next turn. Otherwise, he's going to have a very poor one.
Yeah, exactly, and you can see James eyeing off the the Great Catcher, my apologies here, burning both energy and then getting them all back with Fire Crystal, an attachment to the active Mega Lopunny, and that's the turn. But Aaron just has the switch in hand, and then Lilies for 6. That's unfortunate.
And he gets the water too. That is disgusting. Unfortunately for James, he isn't to know that in Aaron's 3-card hand, he's just holding the switch, which would have been useless and clunked up his hand, but accidentally gave it purpose by sort of customing up, Great Catchering up his Keldeo there.
Yeah, exactly.
So used to saying custom catches.
It's all right. Yeah, no, I've got to change my way of speaking as well.
Accustom myself to this new vocabulary.
Exactly, and Aaron really hurting James here with another disruption card, the reset stamp, removing the welder and the energy from his hand, and a lucky top deck there to get himself a Pokegear. a discard of the fire energy to find 2 more. You never know. Might be able to get into a welder here and start doing damage, but it's going to be a bit of a problem. One of the great catches already down, and now James is in trouble from those ADP attacks. He's going to be Aaron's going to be taking multiple prizes with every one of his attacks from now on. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. James looking probably for a welder here. But, oh, hey, there it is. There's a bunch of supporters that he could pick up.
There's all of his supporters.
Yeah.
I think the silver lining for James here is that Aaron didn't manage to counter his stadium with the chaotic swell. Getting your stadium countered by a chaotic swell is probably one of the worst feelings, because it's like losing it's basically losing 3 stadiums. You really need your opponent to put the chaotic swell down first, because getting it countered by a chaotic swell means you're gonna have to pay another 3 like in total just to get back to where you were. But James has finally got some energy on the board in this match for once.
He has, and he's switching into this Charizard Braixen here. He's got a tag switch, so he can attach the energy from the Mega Lopunny.
And he still has a manual attachment for turn.
Yeah, that Fire Crystal is going to grab that manual attachment, so here we go from nowhere.
A lot of tricks here from James.
A Charizard Braixen ready to attack, and looks like he's weighing up. Do I play down some more cards first? Chucks the Volcanion down, and then declares the attack. What is the name of that attack? Let's try and find out what it's called. Brilliant Flare. There you go. Good on you. At least someone's paying attention.
And for once, it looks like James is finally taking the proactive lead here in this game. But Aaron has countered right back. He's got himself a Silvally. There's that chaotic swell that I was talking about, which is not good for James. He's got the Silvally, and then he Dedenes. And then he finds that judge, and James is not happy.
There goes all those cards. I just searched for 3. Oh.
This 4-judge ADP is especially good at pinning down the ability to search out any 3 cards from Charizard Braixen. I think that's what Aaron had in mind when he made this build, was to just have a build that could consistently shut down Charizard Braixen's really strong attack to search out any cards you want for the next turn.
Now Aaron's got himself a great catcher in hand. He might be looking to use that to take some damage onto this Mega Lopunny, and yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. And this is a really strong move here, just because James's hand is absolutely terrible. If you look at it, there's 2 potions, a welder, and a what is it? There was another card there. I'm not sure entirely what it was, but it wasn't very good.
I didn't see it myself. But yeah, I mean, I think, if I'm honest, I feel like Aaron just wanted to see more cards with that great catcher because he hadn't reached Silvally yet. I think he just got greedy, because I'm pretty happy to just hit the Braixen. I mean, that's the one with the energy. Maybe Aaron has a bit of a soul read on James and thinks that this boy has no energy to retreat, or any way to retreat this Lopunny. Because if not, that is a free for prizes. And currently, it's true. And there's no way for James to draw cards. He can heal 100 damage, which leaves him with 80, but he's still doing 180 in return, which is still in knockout range. James can't escape it. He's going to lose 4 prizes this turn.
He certainly is, and the worst bit for James here is that after he loses these 4 prizes, he's going to pass. Aaron's going to hit into him. James will be able to take a knockout on the ADP, but there's a Keldeo on the bench that's now doing 140 damage because of the GX attack, and 140 times 2 is 280. That's going to knock out this Charizard Braixen. I hate to say it, but this early on, I think ADP has just completely destroyed this BraixZard deck. I think there's no way for James to come back.
Yeah, the writing's on the wall for this one. Even when Aaron loses this ADP, I mean, it's a small victory for James, but Aaron's going to win the war here, and he's even gone for the second Keldeo just to really put the nail in the coffin. Yeah, with 2 fully powered Keldeos. The only way Aaron doesn't attack for the win next turn is if James promotes something that isn't the BraixZard, which means he's not taking the knockout. And the other option is he stalls something and then attacks for nothing.
James just top decks the Mallow and Lana, which would have been able to heal off all that damage,
which would have saved him last turn.
Into the active, and there you go. James electing to just scoop up.
Oh
my goodness!
4 fire energies in the prizes, and his one of Mischievous that he needs to get the Mismagius. Now that wasn't the keep up, but the sheer lack of energy for James there was what contributed to the fact that he could not retreat that Lopunny, and it feels like James was being taunted that whole set by cards that were just missing him by a single turn.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, that's alright. Looks like we're close to running out of video here, so we'll wrap this one up. Thanks everyone for watching. If you like the content, consider subscribing. Click the sable line in the middle of the screen. On the left are some videos that YouTube thinks you'll like, and on the right we have more in our Cosmic Eclipse playlist. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you all next time for more from the Sable Eyes. Bye.
Bye.